Hello and welcome to the 23rd episode of When I Was Your Age. I'm your host, Roland Parker, coming to you from the second episode of 2024. And as always, it is a joy, pleasure, and a treat to have you here. Today's guest is Danny Sanchez, and I'm really excited to chop it up with him, talk everything about Los Bomberos, his coffee company, and how that came to be. So I'm really excited for you guys to get to listen to that. Before we get into it, though, a little bit of housekeeping. Make sure that you follow the Instagram if you're not already. And thank you so much for the support that we've already received. Last I checked, we are currently at 1,090 followers, which is just awesome to see all of the growth from there and the ways that you show support and love there. If you are listening for the first time, consider giving us a follow. You can do so on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and Amazon Podcasts. And if you want to watch episodes, you can do so through Spotify and on YouTube. All the links are available in the link tree in our Instagram bio. But that is going to conclude that. Let's go ahead and bring Danny into the stage. Danny, how's it going with you, man?
What's up? What's going on?
It's nothing
Everything's
much,
good.
man.
I liked running into you and your kids at Target. That was awesome.
Yeah, man, that was awesome. That was so great to see. So I kind of saw you going into the entrance. I was like, that might be Danny, but I'm really not too sure. And then as we got closer, I was like, that's definitely Danny. So I was really glad.
I did a double take too, but I was like, that guy's holding two kids. I don't know if that's Roland or not.
Oh my gosh, yeah, that's the best. It was great to see you there. Did you get any nice shopping done that day?
No, I just followed. I did a lot of following, and then I got lost for a second, and then I stood around a lot. The lines were insane, and
Yeah.
I think the week before I went to Target too, and a car had hit a pole, and all of the power at Target went out. So they
No way.
turned on they turned on like one generator and then turned off all of the frozen food, everything. So you could only shop around for like, whatever else. So I guess everybody that couldn't get groceries that day went whenever I saw you 2 days ago or whatever.
Yeah.
Everyone was there, but
that's insane. Were you in the store when that happened?
no, we were just pulling in. Like I was legit like getting out of the car, and then I just saw everything go boop, like just dark, just black.
Whoa.
Yeah.
That's wild. It's always really, really off-putting when the power's out at like I don't know, just
Oh no, it's terrible. It's
it's
terrible.
like anywhere that's like not your own house. Like I was at the gym and the power went out and it was a really jarring experience. I was like, whoa, I don't know like what to do here. Like I don't know where the candles are to like light. Like
No. I've definitely had nightmares of being like at a school when the power was out, or
oh
like a grocery store, anything like that. The lights are already kind of off-putting, and
mhm.
then when they kind of go dim and they have just those like emergency lights on, no, that's not a good vibe. It's a freaky
Yeah,
vibe. I don't like
it's
it.
very like Walking Dead, like
Yeah,
and
yeah, it's very
and
zombie apocalypse. Yep,
yeah, end
I
of
don't
the
like it.
ages and yeah, too
Well, you
much.
should
I
have seen
feel
when
you.
they put the cardboard up on the produce stuff. Like, yeah, it was super
Ooh,
Walking Dead.
to kinda like help seal in the yeah, that's
I guess. I
that
guess.
would get me.
Yeah.
Well, I'll say that if you are not following Danny on Instagram, make sure that you follow Los Bomberos Cafe. We'll get
Please.
very much into that. I really like y'all's page. It's got a lot of good content on there, and it's really cool to see how you guys have grown since you first started.
Appreciate it. Yeah, man, appreciate it. It's fun to run. It's probably my favorite part about doing, like, having the business is the social media, because you
Really?
can just, yeah, I mean, it's just so fun to post. It's fun to do like the kind of behind the scenes stuff of like what firefighters do, and then a lot of things that other firefighters from different departments relate to. Like it is really cool and it's fun, and the people we've met just through social media I mean, it's one of the reasons why we kind of started growing is from meeting all sorts of different companies and all sorts of different, military, police, anything that kind of vibes with that. Like it
Yeah.
just makes it so easy to find followers and people that buy your stuff. And yeah, it's the most fun part about owning a business for sure.
Yeah, that's awesome. That it's cool when you've got something like Los Bomberos that really resonates with people, and we'll get into that a little bit more in a bit. But I've got some questions that I like to ask everybody just to get kind of a baseline understanding of what you're about.
Let's
But
do it.
where are you from, and where do you currently live?
Well, if you want to get like OG with it, I'm from Columbia. That's where I was
Sure.
born, and then I ended up moving to Alabama. The early Pizitz days, I think, I guess it was right at seventh grade, maybe sixth. I think it was seventh grade.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
yeah, after that I grew up in Vestavia Hills. You know, it's where I met you. It's where I met majority of the people I've seen on this podcast. And yeah, I went to Vestavia, grew up in Vestavia, and then now I'm actually living in Hoover. You know, it's kind of rivalry, but yeah, now I live in Hoover and pretty central to everything. So it's pretty cool spot over here.
Yeah, that's awesome. Love that. And we get to run into each other in Target.
At Target, yeah,
Yeah.
that's the place
So
you're gonna run into people with Target,
yeah, no
especially
doubt.
girls. You run into every girl you've ever known at Target.
Love that. Yeah. No, that's been the main one where I've seen people, I think, is like
Yeah.
any kind of grocery store, is the main one for me. So, well, what is it that you do?
So I actually just recently left the fire department, like literally like a few weeks ago. But yeah, I was in the fire department for 8 years, and then that's where I started Los Bomberos Cafe, which is what I do. I mean, it's you know, we kind of
Right.
take care of that, but I just started as a head of sales and marketing for a company called Bruiser Farms. We do a lot of like outdoor stuff like fishing and hunting, and we sell like um, they're commercial deer blinds, like really large, expensive deer blinds and fish feeders and a bunch of cool stuff. Just my thing. Like I love the outdoors. I love fishing. I love hunting, and somehow I landed this job.
Mhm.
And yeah, so it was time to put away the fire gloves and the helmet and start working on something else. You know, just money wise. Like fire
Sure.
department is the greatest job in the whole entire world, but it's not the highest paying job in the whole entire
Sure.
world.
Yeah, no doubt. So, and big theme of the podcast for us is age. So, how old are you?
I'm 26.
Love that. And what piece of media are you currently enjoying or kind of going to? So that's book, podcast, music, TV show, anything that's just kind of a big part of your day or routine right now.
I'm trying books. I'm really trying. I'm attempting books.
Hmm.
I love a few, but then I start reading one, and I've tried books.
Yeah.
Um, but man, like I think my biggest problem is I can't finish a show. I like a lot of shows, but I've
Hmm.
never fully completed one. I think Game of Thrones was the only one I fully completed.
Yeah.
After that, I don't know, man. I like to spend my time doing something like outdoors. Like I have lots of little hobbies like fly fishing, and I tie flies like to use for fly fishing. Like I like to do stuff like that.
Gotcha.
I can't think of any like favorite media I have right now. I listen to a
Gotcha.
lot of podcasts like comedy podcasts like Bad Friends and Bobby Lee. That's my guy. Love
Yeah.
listening to him. So
There you go.
yeah.
Nice. Love that. Yeah. So podcast. Do you listen to podcasts a lot when you're like in like outdoor spaces like fly fishing and stuff, or
Yeah,
do
yeah.
you,
Like I'll just put it on. Like I have this big Bluetooth speaker. I'll just put it on. Anything that makes me laugh. Like if it's boring, I'll turn it off. But like if it's keeping me, like if I can laugh, like I love it. So that's why I listen to all the Bad Friend stuff and Bobby Lee and all them because they're just so funny. So
yeah,
yeah, I
definitely.
just
That's
kind of
I get a lot of their clips on my TikTok feed.
yeah, and they're
Yeah.
hilarious.
Yeah, so funny. Um, what's something that you'd consider a luxurious necessity? And it's really fitting that we've got you on the show because often when I'm explaining what I mean by the question, I tell people that a really nice cup of coffee is like my answer. So I'm
Hmm.
interested to hear what you kind of think of.
Well, that's actually probably the best answer, honestly, because it's you can wake up in the morning and it starts your day. Like a bad cup of coffee will start a terrible day, or a great cup of coffee starts a good day. Well,
Mhm.
it depends on you put your effort, your energy into that. But yeah, like a good cup of coffee in the morning, man, like nothing beats that. Like that is the best. And people do it different ways, espresso, and they do a pour over. Whatever you do, it is such a like, however you worded it, the luxury to
Yeah,
have that. So I do agree. I mean, I that's got to be the best one. That's how you start your day,
yeah,
like 100%.
I'm with you there. I love
Yeah.
that. Do you have any bits that you're doing? Any running jokes or inside jokes or, um, that things that you kinda tend to fall into saying or stuff like that?
a hard one. I can't think of any that might be appropriate.
We can
Uh,
always throw the explicit tag on the on the episode.
yeah. I mean, there's a lot, but I don't know if they're even like once I listen to this back, I'll be like, oh man, maybe that wasn't good taste. So I
Sure,
don't know. No.
sure.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
I'm a big fan of the "That was my nickname in high school" one. Is it it
Oh
was,
yeah, like anything you say. Yeah, I love that. Okay, then that's one. Yeah, that is a good one. It's
yeah,
just a quick, easy, just make people laugh. No
mhm,
matter what they say, that works. It works for anything.
yeah, 100%.
I like that.
Love that. Nice. Alright. So
Mine is
we
usually $20 is $20. That's kind of like
$20 is
me.
$20. Yeah,
Yeah. So I mean, I'll do
that's
anything
great.
for $20. That's just where I'm at.
Nice. That's good. Yeah, a lot of, it's a you got a wide range of applicability there. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
good.
Yeah. Exactly.
All right. So we like to ask this question and get everybody's answer, and I compile it into a playlist. So we've got everybody's answers all in one spot, and that is on the link tree. You can get the Spotify playlist. But given the opportunity to replace the national anthem with any song on your playlist, what would that be? And tell me a little bit about that.
Um, I mean, top of my head, I want to say "Freebird" because it's just such a good song and
Nice.
it brings all of the emotions. And I think, that's how the national anthem is. It starts off kind of slow, and then like when the flyover comes, it's
Hmm.
building up. So maybe like a cut up version of "Freebird," to where
Yeah.
like we're singing slow, and then the jets fly over during the solo. Like that. That's probably my answer.
Nice. I like that. I like the caveat that you've offered too. We've gotten Freebird on a couple answers already, but I like the way that you
Oh,
break it
dang. All
down.
right. Well, I have
It's
to think of something else then.
no, 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 I
Um,
think that's a good answer. It's if you wanna offer another one, I'm willing to take it,
I'll
but
think. Maybe at the end I'll think of one. But
no, if
yeah,
something
like I was
pops.
thinking about that. We went to the Birmingham Bulls game. Yeah, we went to the Birmingham Bulls game 2 nights ago, and it was a hype game. I mean, it was awesome. But I was thinking about that because like the beginning of the national anthem's so chill, and no matter where you are, like once you get to that like ending, everybody's just losing their mind. So,
Mhm, no
so
doubt.
it's got to be something hype like that.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it too, the build of,
Yeah, you
both
got to
the
have a
national
build,
anthem and Freebird. That's a great answer.
right?
And last question, we've touched on it already, but we'll do it real quick, is how do we know each other?
So yeah, high school, Vestavia Hills, V Hills,
That's
the
it.
alma mater, man.
Love
Greatest
that.
high school ever.
It's no
I
doubt.
stand by it. I loved it. I love Vestavia. I had great memories of Vestavia. It was awesome. I
Absolutely.
loved it.
Me too. Yeah, I really loved my time. There were like a few moments where I was like not gelling with like the school experience in general, but like
Yeah,
I loved like the people that I was around and everything
yeah,
like
for
that.
sure. That's the same. Yeah, I'd never liked school ever since day one, and since middle school, I hated school. So yeah, I just enjoyed the friends, and the sports and all the fun stuff. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah, I feel you there. Um, all right, so let's get into your story a little bit, and there are a couple aspects that I'd like to touch on. Is one is the firefighter component, because
Hmm.
one that is like that's not something that I'm really aware of or super knowledgeable on. I have one uncle who's a paramedic, so there's a little bit of exposure there, but definitely not to the same degree as it's a full on exposure to the blazes and everything like that. But then also
Right,
the business component, and those are very much intertwined based on like the mission statement that we see on your website. Um,
right.
so let's let's start on the firefighter side because I think that kind of leads into the coffee business. But so tell me a little bit about how you got started being a firefighter.
Yeah, man. So the story's actually kind of funny. Was I was doing things that teenagers shouldn't be doing in your parents' eyes, and I actually got caught doing said things by my parents one day. And I'd always kind of wanted to be in the military. That was always kind of my vibe. Like I wanted to do something like a uniform job. I knew from the beginning I wanted to do some sort of civil service job. It was just, you don't have to be a genius to do it, and it's just fun. And you get to do fun stuff. So, um, anyways, I got grounded, and my mom was like, "Hey, you have a few choices." And we tried out a few choices. Like she punished me and she made me go to this like equestrian camp, and I had to like pick special needs kids up and put them on a horse, and then they did their circle, and then I would do that. I did that for like 3 weeks. So
Mhm.
then she was like, "Is there something else you want to try? Like this is boring, but you're grounded. So what else is there that you have to do every day, and not be out with your friends?" So I found Vestavia Explorers. It was a Explorer program right next to the high school. It was at that fire station at the high school,
Mhm.
and pretty much all it is you sign up and you're a junior firefighter. So you ride all the calls and you do all the fun stuff and you hang out at the station and cook and clean and do everything they do. But obviously you're not getting paid. It's just a strictly for experience type, whatever. So yeah, after like 2 days or now maybe a week of doing that, I was like, yeah, this is what I'm gonna do. Like this is what my career is gonna be, and I'm gonna work towards making this my full time career. And I stayed at the Explorers for a little bit. We ended up graduating, and I went to Auburn, and really Southern Union. I lived in Auburn, but I went to Southern Union, and I was like, man, I want to be an Auburn firefighter. Like that was my goal. Like I want to be an Auburn firefighter, but it's the most competitive thing in the
Really?
world. I mean, it's crazy competitive. They have a 10 out of 10 firefighting program.
Gotcha. Wait, is
So
there any, like, reason that it's so competitive there?
because it's so awesome, like they pay for your housing, they pay for your school, they pay for meals. Like it really was like a you join and they take care of everything and you just kind of work. Like you have to do the recruit program and then after that you're a firefighter for Auburn.
So just,
So
like, desirable in terms of, like,
oh big
positions that you
time,
could
man.
yeah,
Yeah. And then
cool.
you're down, you're in a college town, and if you're 20 or whatever out of high school or trying to be a firefighter and you're 19, 20 years old and you're in downtown Auburn, like that's crazy. Like that's
Mhm, yeah,
insane. The people you
I
get
get
to
that.
see, I mean, you just feel, yeah, you feel awesome. So that's what I was trying to do. I couldn't get in. I mean, I was probably like, I took some tests and I think there was like 1,200 people and I ranked like 900 or something crazy.
Well,
So I applied for Birmingham. I was just like, I was in Auburn, just kind of doing prerequisites, just doing college kid stuff. Like I wasn't really taking anything serious. And I put an application in for Birmingham, and then yeah, I got it. Like next week, they were like, "Hey, can you start recruit school in 3 weeks?" And I was like, "Oh snap, yeah!" Like it got real like super quick. So I moved back to Birmingham, and then I went to recruit school. It was super tough, but it was super fun. I met a lot of, friends that I still have now. And I was like, yeah, this is where I want to work. Like, I want to work at a fire department that's busy. Like, I want to do work and I want to fight fire and I want to see all the cool stuff, the gunshot, the stabbings. Like, I want to be a real firefighter. And
mhm,
Birmingham is the place to do it. I mean, there's no other place that gives you that much experience.
yeah,
And, now looking back, if I was an Auburn firefighter, I would have been extremely bored, but it would have been cool,
yeah, no
nothing
doubt.
against Auburn firefighters, but it just compared to Birmingham, I wouldn't have the experience that I have now. Um, so yeah, I mean, that sums it up. Like it was just, me getting grounded and having to do something. And then I fell in love with it.
Yeah, is one thing that kinda stuck out to me is I love that even in, like, your punishment, that your mom was still working with you to find something that was going to, like,
Oh yeah,
jam
she
with
wanted
you
to better
personally.
me. Yeah,
She
she like the equestrian thing was like a filler. It was like a
mhm,
hey, you're grounded, and we're gonna kind of find something to do, but you're gonna go to this equestrian. It was like off 119, like Indian Springs or something.
mhm,
And I got there, and I was just, I mean, it was just like I picked kids up and put them on a horse, and they circled around, and then I took them off. I mean, I did it for like 6 hours a day. It was
yeah.
terrible, but
Love that, but
it was fun, and I bet the kids loved it. So shout out to those kids.
yeah, but just it wasn't jamming with you personally,
No,
and
no,
then
not at all.
So you knew pretty early on, like, this is something that I wanna pursue, just, like, being exposed to were you in the
Mhm.
firehouse at all? Like, I'm assuming that you'd spend some time there.
At Vestavia?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, every day. I mean, like I would walk from school, right from the high school if I wasn't doing anything that day, or whatever the thing is, I would walk to the fire station right next to the high school.
Mhm.
Had like a little uniform, like a shirt and pants. It was just kind of like a junior uniform or whatever, and then yeah, just hung out. And looking back on it now too, is nothing against my Vestavia firefighters. I love them all to death, and they're all, we're all equal.
Mhm.
But it was super slow, and I knew that that's what I wanted to do, but I wanted to kind of like amp it up a little bit, and I wanted to, you know, get go to a place where I was doing things. And Vestavia's just blessed. They don't get all the calls, and I don't ever wish that on them. But
Yeah.
it's just kind of like a slower place, just nicer city.
Mhm. Do you is there anything that you could point to that you knew why you wanted some of the more intense or, like, frequent, like, experiences? Like, do you know why that is?
Just being young. I mean, just
Mhm.
being like being a kid, seeing the cool things. Social media was a huge part of it. Seeing firefighters on Instagram, seeing New York firefighters, Boston, Atlanta, seeing big city fire. I mean, even Memphis, seeing
Yeah.
guys that live in or that work in cities that are large but haven't necessarily. They still have really old houses. They still
Mhm.
have places that burn down every single day. They have. It's just it's I don't know the right word to use for it. We use a word, but I don't know if it's appropriate. But anyways, we'll move on from that.
Sure.
Um, but yeah, so I just knew I wanted to go. Like I felt it. I saw it on Instagram. I saw videos of it, and I was like, I want to fight fire. Like I want to go inside of a fire. I want to run calls where you feel like you're genuinely helping,
Mhm.
because there's a lot of times where you work at slower places where you're running calls that you don't necessarily feel like you're helping. And that comes
Mhm.
with Birmingham too. We run 17, 18 calls a shift, and one of them was serious. And there's people that, want to get lifted, their toe hurts, or, you still have all of that. But the chances of you getting something a little, I don't want to say better because it sucks for the person that's going through it, but, a little more
It's got some heft to it.
rewarding, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like it was working at Birmingham. So yeah, a big part was just like social media, and I had a few mentors at Vestavia who were also like, don't get trapped in a slow place. Like you're young, go somewhere where you can get tons of experience. And yeah,
That's really cool. So, was there any moment, like, when you were younger, like, childhood even, that you thought about being a firefighter that like, leading up to this, or was that kind of the first instance that you understood that that was something that you wanted to do?
I have like a few pictures of me in like a fire helmet.
Mhm.
I think a lot of people do, but I don't think I realized it until that moment where I joined like the Explorers. Like I've always had a weird fascination with like trucks. Like I always like fire trucks, garbage trucks,
Yeah.
like military trucks. Like I had a huge trains are my thing, planes, like anything like that. I respect hard.
Mhm.
Like I love that kind of stuff. And but even with fire trucks, like it's not like when I saw a fire truck go down the street, I was like, oh, I want to do that. It came when I like got inside of it, and I was like, okay, this is really cool. But yeah,
That
not really any
that's cool.
instances before that.
That's cool that it was in that moment, in that first initial exposure, that it hadn't
Yeah,
kind of occurred to you, and then once you saw how it was going, you're like, "Oh, yeah, this is for me," and then,
yeah.
you made it happen and continued on with it. I love that. Um, so the we I think that has fleshed out your firefighter experience pretty well, and not that we're not gonna go back to it at any point, but, um Uh, tell me then how that turned into Los Bomberos.
So I was lucky enough to work with an awesome crew at Station 15. It's in West End. It was I just got into a really really good group of guys, And that's where I kind of met Kurt, my business partner. And the thing we all had in common at 1.5 is the love for the job, like the genuine love and passion and like pride behind the job. And that made us close. Like because of all of that, like our whole crew got so close. You know, we hang out outside the fire department, we do a bunch of stuff. And then me and Kurt were hanging out a lot more. And then we started one day just brainstorming, like what can we do that can, like, you know, because at the end of the day, like we still want money. Like everybody wants to make some
Yeah.
money. And I'm not saying the fire department doesn't have the options to, but it's just, you know, I didn't really want to start taking promotional tests, and I wasn't looking to do any of that. I wanted to do something where I could use some of my free time on my off days to do something. So after kind of brainstorming a little bit, we were like, we drink a lot of coffee, and
Mhm.
it's not a new thing. Like a firefighter owned coffee isn't, you know, a new thing. But we were like, we drink a lot of coffee and we want to roast our own coffee, which I can say that is one of the more unique sides of
Yeah.
what we do is the actual coffee roasting.
Mhm.
There's a lot of companies that outsource coffee, like they get coffee beans from another roaster and bring them and then put a label on them and, you know, say firefighter owned. And if they do that, that's cool. But we were trying to do like small batch roasting
Yeah.
where we're making the actual coffee. We're getting it from green coffee beans and we're turning it into the coffee that you consume. So yeah, we just kind of brainstormed and we were like, you know, I'm Colombian, so we wanted to put a little like of the Colombian root in it, and I was like, what if we named it, or you know, we both brainstormed. We were like, what if we named it Los Bomberos, and that translates to the firefighters' coffee, like Los Bomberos Cafe. That's what it
Mhm.
translates to. So we were just like, it was kind of like an obvious answer, you know, like drinking coffee and all of the stations around us that drink so much coffee. We were like, let's just roast coffee. Let's see what happens. And after we started roasting coffee, we ended up giving some bags away to firefighters, and they were like, yeah, you could do something with this. So then we started making more legit bags, and then we started making or roasting larger amount of coffee, and then, you know, that's kind of how it grew. And we realized that we could have fun with the brand because of
Mhm.
what we do and the opportunities of like the behind the scenes stuff made it just so fun. We were like, yeah, we need to do this. Like this is awesome.
Yeah, it's there are so many things that I feel like you guys do really well. Is one, the branding feels so distinct. Like you talked about that the idea of like a firefighter owned coffee is not new, but like the distinction though of like the small batch stuff, like it feels, I don't know, more artisanal even. Like I don't know if
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
exactly the right word.
No, that I
But
think that
it's
nails it. Yeah.
yeah, it's more, like, purposeful, it feels like, where, like, this is no condemnation on, like, something like a Black Rifle coffee, but
Hmm.
that feels just like something. I have no idea what their processes are and how they get
Yeah.
their coffee, but, like, surface level to me, it feels like something that's just co-opted, like a, first responder, like, military, like, brand, whereas you guys, it's
Yeah.
like, okay, like, they're, like, on their off days, they're roasting the coffee and they're like that they are making it because they drink so much. Like it feels a little more true to, I don't know, just your experience like in the firehouse. And I don't know. I
Yeah.
relate to it much better than something else. So
Yeah.
I
And
like
it's
it.
and like going back to like Black Rifle and stuff, you know, they were their branding was so on point and all of the stuff they did was so on point that they were able to grow. And when you grow to that level, you can't roast at the level we're roasting. I mean, that's
Mhm.
the
Yeah.
roaster we have, you know, it'll put out a certain amount of coffee, but they're roasting on a next level scale. And even
Right.
like there's another company, Fire Department Coffee, like they're also blowing up and they're also big and they've been big for a while, but they serve so many more customers that you there's just no way to keep that small batch, you know, like vibe going with it. There's no way to do
Mhm.
it. So nothing against any of those companies. It was just like we had the opportunity to start something small and grow it organically and just, you know, we didn't put money into it. We didn't really do anything. We just kind of just let it grow and let it do its thing. So
Yeah. Is that something that you had in mind, like, from the beginning, or did you notice it along the way?
what's that?
Just the difference between something like a, um, it's a for lack of a better example, something like a Black Rifle coffee or fire department coffee. Did you notice, like, the difference of, like, just the scale and, like, how they do their
Oh
business?
yeah, for sure. And again, nothing against them, but it's like drinking a Starbucks. Like you go to Starbucks and you get a Starbucks and you're drinking this like whatever they call it, espressiato, large
Mhm.
grande, whatever they want to call it, and you can just taste that the beans are just burnt. Like it's
Yeah,
just they
over roasted.
roast so much coffee and they send it to so many different factories and do blah blah blah, XYZ, that it loses that like every cup needs to be good vibe. Like there's just no
Yeah.
way to do it because they're doing it at such a large scale.
Mhm.
So for us, it was like, yeah, like I roasted our first batch of coffee and we were like, okay, we can mess with this taste and we could change it to this and we could do this with it and blah, blah, blah. Or we can just burn the beans and just give people what they want, like black coffee with some oat milk in it.
Yeah.
So yeah, like I did notice a huge difference. Like it was like you were drinking real coffee, and
Mhm.
not just our firefighter brand coffee, but places all around Birmingham. Like if you go to a coffee shop and their coffee roasters, like you just taste a difference in
Yeah.
a just like roasted cup of coffee, like a actually roasted in-house cup of
Yeah.
coffee,
Definitely.
because it's not just large. It just doesn't feel as commercial.
Yeah, 100%. I had the privilege of having a coffee company like right near campus for us, and they had their roastery was downstairs. And,
Ooh, the
you
smells.
could yeah, the smells, it was
Yeah,
crazy, like, you would smell it, like, walking up the street.
yeah.
And for one of my classes, we got to go, like, tour their facility, and it was like they had, like, a really big roaster. I'm sure it looks much different from what you guys use, but it was, like, so cool to get that
Like a
experience
drum
of.
roaster. It was probably like
Yeah,
a
yeah.
big gigantic drum roaster. Yeah, like
Mhm.
that. And even
It's
with that, like even as big as that looks, it's still they're roasting a certain amount of beans and putting them out, and there's
yeah,
probably somebody still tasting them and somebody still doing that stuff. And like I don't know if Starbucks does that. I don't know if Black Rifle does. I don't know what they do. I don't know if they're actually tasting every single cup of coffee or whatever. But you can taste the difference. Like if I went and got a cup of coffee from Starbucks today, it would probably taste a little bit different tomorrow because it's not the same heat being put on the beans. It's not the same amount of time. It feels like they just throw some beans in a roaster and they're just like, come
yeah.
on, let's go. Put them out, boys.
Yeah, I think the big thing that we've touched on is just that how much scale, like, affects the end product
Yeah.
for something like coffee. So yeah, uh,
And even like sandwiches or whatever, tacos, whatever you want to say, like,
yeah,
your Taco Bell you got yesterday might not be the same as the one you got today because they're just pumping them out. Like there's just, there's no, I don't know like what we would do if we got that big, like it would be kind of intimidating to have that many
mhm.
consumers and being like, okay, how do we keep it consistent? But then at some point when you're that big, you're just kind of like, just put them out. Like, just get them out.
Just put them out. Just
Yeah.
you've established, like, the brand trust. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a that's big. So, in all of this, what what did you find that was not so easy to you guys? Because you mentioned that you really like the social media component, like you like
Yeah.
doing the posts and everything. What did you not really like? What did not come to you as naturally?
Well, honestly, I mean, and what's happening with us right now is we're, as much as I hate to say it, like we are trying to slowly, and it's working, but we're trying to slowly become more of a brand and a merch kind of thing, like a logo and some shirts and stuff, more
Mhm,
than we are coffee, because it truly, like in the state of Alabama, it's, for me personally, it was so hard to start the coffee roaster and
mhm,
start the coffee roasting business because of just the rules that that Birmingham implies or the rules that Alabama's implied. Like it really is tough. And with the coffee trailer, I mean, they made it so hard for us to
Really?
grow. I
What
mean,
what was like the number one obstacle for the coffee trailer, like
like
specifically?
health department was the number one obstacle.
Hmm.
The reason it was such an obstacle is because the health department in Alabama didn't recognize us as what we were, a coffee trailer using um, oat milk, almond milk, coconut milk, just different stuff like that. They recognized us as a food trailer,
Hmm.
no matter what we did, no matter what we said we had, no matter how much we explained to them, like we're not serving food. They
Yeah.
just, there's no other label for it. And if you go to different states and you go to different, you know, maybe in Alabama somewhere, but I haven't found it. But if you go to different states, there's things called cottage laws and things that protect small coffee roasters. There's things that protect people that make jams or honey or things like that. They recognize it. So if you, I'm not going to say this state's the right one, but let's say North Carolina. Let's say they have the cottage laws. So in North Carolina, you can roast coffee out of your garage.
Mhm.
So you can have a big coffee machine, coffee roaster in your garage, and if you're selling, you know, under 50,000, whatever the number is, you're fine because they recognize you as a small, like you're just, it's like a little farmer, you know, you're just a
Mhm.
little
Yeah.
guy roasting in a garage. But Birmingham doesn't recognize us as that. So the obstacles we had were a commissary kitchen, like a place that a food truck goes to prep all their food before an event, or every morning, you know, they go and prep all the food, blah blah blah. That's what we had to do, and all we
Mhm.
had was coffee. Um, so it made it like we can't roast out of a garage. We have to roast out of a commissary kitchen unless we have a building that we put three sinks in and do all these things. And
Oh,
it's
wow.
just, and you know, not making any excuses because people have done it. Like it's very doable, but it's, we were growing so organically and not having to put much money in that, like that the numbers that you had to bring and the amount of cash flow you had to do something like that is like very intimidating.
Yeah,
And
no doubt.
and you know, if we were in a different state, I think it would work out better. But it's just a lot of money goes into the health department and the licensing side of it, which is
Mm,
super tough,
yeah.
very tough.
That's one piece for me that feels like would be super intimidating is like just how do you cope with like hitting those walls and like trying to work around and like make
Yeah,
stuff fit.
and it's, and like I said, it's very doable. It's just, you know, it takes money, and we weren't coming into this with like just throwing money at it, and we
Mhm.
still aren't. Like we don't, we're not growing by just throwing money at our business. Like we're growing slowly and organically because we're just kind of being patient with it. And you know, maybe if we come up on $100,000, like we could grow to the next level. But
Yeah.
it's just yeah, it is intimidating, and people do it, and I applaud those people that just like go head first into a business. But I also don't want to lose the fun of it. Like
Yeah.
I do enjoy it so much, and I do have so much fun with like making merch and making hats and doing things like that, that I just don't want to lose that side of it.
Mhm. Yeah, absolutely. And one other piece that I find really impressive is that you are doing this alongside of for the up until very recently, you were doing this alongside being a firefighter. I think, a job that
Yeah,
I would assume pretty demanding physically and emotionally. And so I feel like I would have a really hard time doing a lot of what you're saying about some of those obstacles, like we need something brick and mortar with this many sinks in order to be able to run the truck. And it's
yeah,
I've got this shift, and um that's just it. I find that part is another really impressive piece for me
yeah,
is doing it alongside both of those things. It's super cool. um
yeah. There's a lot of logistics that go into that, like waking up after a, you know, 17 call shift and having to set up the coffee trailer or roast coffee. You're like, sheesh, man. Like it does, you know, it does take a toll on you.
Mhm.
And you know, it just, like, it is what it is because we still have fun with it. And the moment you wake up and you're like, I don't want to set up the coffee trailer, or I don't want to roast coffee today, or I don't want to do this, like that's a bummer. And we never want to get to that point. So if we can just kind of keep going the way we're going, having fun with it, just growing organically, like just feels better on the soul
Yeah.
instead of just like angry and
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's really wise of how you guys are approaching that to know, like, it is really important to me to maintain the sense of fun so that I can do this for longer and I can keep enjoying it, and not, like, rush into it and, like, try and, like, I need to get as big as I can, like, as fast as possible.
Oh, and there's
Um,
probably some guy, like some business guys listening to me, and they're like, "This guy's an idiot." Like you have to go full, head first into your business. If you're passionate about it, like just do it. And we're just not there yet.
yeah,
We're not at that point yet. I have so many other things I like to do too. Like I like to fish. I like to hunt. I like the outdoors. I like to do a bunch of stuff that I don't want to just throw a bunch of money at something and then lose the fun. Like we said, like we're just chilling right now. We're kind of
yeah,
just
it's
doing our thing.
honestly, Danny, it is so refreshing to hear you say, like, to have this approach to being an entrepreneur because I feel like we can get really bombarded with people talking about, like, if you wanna make stuff work, like, you gotta go out there and grind and make sacrifices and stuff, and, like, some of that is definitely true, like, it's you gotta set up the coffee trailer after an extremely difficult shift, but to say, like, I'm gonna be I'm gonna play defense on the things that I love and enjoy, spending time outside and, doing all that. Like, that's really refreshing to hear. I love getting to see that.
Yeah, and I think me and Kurt both share that. And like I said, from a business standpoint, from a money standpoint, it's probably not the smartest way. Scared money don't make money, but we still got things we do on the side. We still have the fire department. I have my new job. Like we still have things we're trying to also grow. Like Kurt's an engineer. He got promoted to apparatus operator, so he's going up the chain of getting promoted and
Mhm.
stuff. And we're just pretty real about what we do. Like we just like to keep it real. We don't like to. I don't. I think one of the reasons why I like the social media side of it so much is because at the end of the day, I can show that it's me and Kurt. Like
Yeah.
it's us two, and this is what we do, and like we just kind of have fun with it, and blah blah blah. But once you start getting so like commercial, like no one wants to see like ads popping up on their page, like
Mhm.
of like our coffee bag and stuff. That kind of stuff gets old, and that comes with growing the business is posting things like that and doing like 4th of July deals or Memorial Day deal. Like I'm just not about that. Like I'm about just like posting the funny things we do. If you want to buy a hat because of our funny dumb video or whatever, like
Yeah.
buy a hat.
I love that. That's really refreshing to me. Yeah, it's sometimes it's really hard for me to navigate social media because of, like, a lot of what you're saying, like, targeted ads and, like, special deals and stuff like that. I'm like, I just don't
Oh, it
I
turns
wanna
me
see
off
what.
from any brand.
Yeah.
And I use like our insights as kind of like proof of that. Like I've made posts like that when we first started. I've made things that are like, look at our coffee, buy our coffee cups, do our this, blah blah blah. And then I've made a post of me and Kurt doing something dumb that is like blown up compared
Mhm.
to that. So it's just I never want to get to that just gross commercial side of it. Like that's just not fun to me at all.
Yeah, definitely.
And again, to the people listening that are like, "You're an idiot. You're not going to make any money." That's fine. We're chilling.
Yeah, we're chilling, we're having fun, we enjoy doing it, like, yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's great. I love that. I love getting to see that. That is truly breath of fresh air. I've said refreshing
Yeah.
like 4 times already, but no,
I
that's
like it.
awesome.
Good word.
Especially I, gosh, dude, it really bothers me that I just can't see, like, what my friends are, like, doing and up to on social media.
Yeah.
I'm like, "Dang, I didn't realize that this person had kids or got married or they started a new business." Like, I'll, like, stumble on something and I'm like, "Dang, like, I didn't this was not showing up for me," and I was getting
Yeah.
ads for, I don't know, WordPress instead. Like, let me, like,
Yeah.
get
Exactly.
it out of here.
Yeah.
Um,
and I think even like big companies could take, that into account. Like there's big companies where you're like, man, I don't want to see the thing you sell every single day. Like show us some like human interaction. Like make yourself look normal and like act like humans. Like you don't have to post this ad and it's like buy this 50% off, blah blah blah.
Mm-hmm.
Like I love seeing pages, and that's why we like our Instagram followers and like the guys we follow, like we don't want to see any of that. We want to see like I have a company I really like called Brigands Co. They're uh ex well, I think they're retired, but they were Army Rangers and they made this
Mm-hmm.
cool merch company and all that stuff. And they don't just post all these shirts and stuff they have for sale. They post like lifestyle pictures, and I think that's like the way to do it.
Yeah.
Anything lifestyle wise, like I think just connects you to people and makes people realize that you're not a business, you're still a person. Like you still do human things.
Yeah.
So
100%. Yeah. I tend to like find myself just I'm more willing to buy into like a company that I know because I know like their story. Um like Lily Willingham was one of the episodes, and like I bought a shirt from her, and it was great because I was like, I'm probably not gonna go out and buy um like just any shirt just for the fun of it, but like I know Lily and what she's about, and that matters to me. So like I'm gonna go get it there, and like I put in an order for a hat because I had a Los Bomberos hat and I
oh, I
lost it in
saw
the
it, yeah.
and I lost it in the move. So I was like, dang, I need to get a Los Bomberos hat again.
Which one did you get? I saw you place an order, but I didn't see which one you
So,
got. This is my favorite
I
one at the moment.
no, I actually got a shirt.
Yep.
The hat that I had, it was the black hat, and I don't think it was the stamped one. It might have been an
Okay.
older version. But it was a
Yeah.
black hat, kind of similar style, but not the camo. But
Yeah.
all that. So okay, tell me a little bit about decisions that you go with for the merch then, because that's something that's completely new to me. Like what's the decision, creative process like for that?
Same thing. Back to just keeping it real, keeping it OG. Just things that we like, things that we appreciate. Like I made one of our shirts. One of our friends made a shirt of a house that was on fire, but it was sitting on a top of like burning coffee beans. Like just like, and we do it really based off of like our tattoo style too, like traditional tattoos and American traditional black and gray tattoos is my thing, and just things that I enjoy, just little
Mhm.
things that I enjoy that resemble us, and like down the road, like we want to do things like that resemble us even more. Like Kurt's a really big golf player, so we can start doing some golf swag and some golf merch and stuff. But that
Nice.
still has that like hint of firefighter, merch and or brand in it. And then for me, like the outdoor stuff, like it was so easy to make a duck camo hat or
Mhm.
a hunting orange hat with
Yeah.
our logo on it. Just and I didn't do it because it's like a popular thing. I did it because I love the duck camo and I love the hunting orange. Like it's just if we see something we like and we're like the people that are like us will buy it, then we'll put it out
Then
there.
that's like who we wanna make it for. Yeah.
Yeah, like we're
Uh,
making it for people like us. We're making it for guys that like the same thing, guys and girls that like the same things we do, and just if you buy it, you buy it. If you don't, you don't.
love that. That's
Yeah.
that's awesome. Um, is there so
I mean,
it
there's
seems
some business guy out there having a stroke right now.
yeah, it's well, that I think that's the difference though, is like if your main bottom line is like, I'm just trying to make as much money as possible versus like making something that you really enjoy having
Yeah.
and making and like showing to your friends, like to me, there's more inherent value to the latter and like what you guys are doing, but
Yeah.
yeah, it's a can't knock
Uh,
them um for thinking any differently. But
yeah.
so it seems like you and Kurt are pretty in line with each other and like what you think. Have there been any points where you guys like didn't see eye to eye for stuff? Because it seems like
Oh well,
stylistically,
yeah.
Go for it.
Always, because Kurt's an idiot. So yeah, every day. But um, not on anything like, deep or anything. Like, it was just like little disagreements. But for the most part, if I make a shirt, he likes it. If he makes a shirt, I like it. There's never been a time where we've been like, nah, that's not it. Like, that's never happened. Like, we just are so similar that that's never been an issue.
Mhm.
So no, I mean, not really. Like, I can't recall any time where we've had any sorts of, disagreement, like any big disagreements on anything like that.
Yeah, that's cool that you have that level of trust and friendship
Yeah.
too, because it seems like just the things that you guys like to do, the tattoos that you like to get, obviously you're in the same profession and you're in each other's lives in that way. But I don't know, it's really cool that you have that relationship with your business partner. I don't think that everybody gets to do that.
Oh no, definitely not. And yeah, and when you lose that relationship, that's another part that's just, you don't want to do that. Like, that sucks. You start
Mhm,
losing that relationship and you become just business partners, then you're really gonna hate working for whatever you're trying to do. It's
mhm.
gonna suck.
Yeah, no doubt. Um, so, this is a I got 2 questions that I like to ask everybody, just to see their different takes is what impact have you seen yourself making? And that could be just with how people relate to the brand in general or anything else that kinda comes to mind. I don't wanna make you feel like you gotta go a certain way, but what impact have you seen yourself making?
Um, Definitely a lot of people that weren't into the firefighter world or didn't know about the firefighter world, kind of seeing, what we do, and just seeing what firefighters are like. I
Mhm.
think that's made a big impact. Like, I talked to a lot of people, guys, girls, that are like, "Oh my God, y'all do that, or y'all do this?" Like, yeah, like things like that.
Mhm.
Um, Besides that, just, I mean, that's really all I can think about. Like, impact wise, that's probably my main one, is just kind of giving a better view of like the firefighter world.
Being the introduction for people like that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
That's cool. Well, it makes me think of I think it's your most popular reel that Adam Devine, like, reshared
Oh
or
my God,
what.
it was insane,
That's so funny.
insane.
Well, it, like, gives you a re we won't, describe the scene, in detail, but, like, it does give you a picture of, like, what you guys
Yeah,
are doing and talking about,
yeah.
and
And
it's
you
funny because
can't share too much. Like, we try to, like, we still have the things that only we know and that
no
we
doubt,
talk
yeah.
about. But like, yeah, like, you can't share too much. But yeah, like that kind of, that's another thing. Like, the lifestyle is, that video was just, we added the song, we clipped together a bunch of Workaholics clips, and then edited some like Chicago fire videos, the fire trucks rolling down. And it's just like the relatable, just lifestyle stuff. Like, it's just
Yeah.
relate, and that's why meme pages are so popular and stuff, is because they just post like, people share relatable
Mhm.
lifestyle stuff. But if I made an ad of like the Los Bomberos bag, like with coffee beans falling or whatever, like, skip. Like, you just
Yeah.
swipe, move on. Like, it's just not fun. Nobody wants to see that.
Yeah, that's so funny. It made me think of so I grew up going to and working at summer camps, and, there's a movie called, Wet Hot American Summer, and just, like,
Sounds
so
familiar.
it's really funny, it's very much like, humor like Kung Pao, like, really, like, off the wall, like,
Yeah,
jokes and, like, super ridiculous, like, situations, but the experience of, like, having worked at a summer camp made that movie, like, so much funnier to me because of,
yeah,
like, some of the things that, like, were amped up and ridiculous, but had an element of, like, truth to it. So it, like,
yeah,
it it was cool to see that, like, a similar, I don't know, seedling of a thought and that experience of you guys, like, being in the truck, like, talking around, like, on your way to a call.
yeah.
It was very funny to me, and I liked getting to see that.
Yeah, and it targets like, a certain demographic because people, if you're not a firefighter, you're not in the truck and you don't know exactly what's going on. You don't know how we're sitting. You don't know the layout of things. And so it does target a certain demographic, but it's hilarious. And like if you are a nurse or if you're a cop or something and somebody makes a nurse meme or a cop meme, it's gonna blow up and you're gonna share it because it's so relatable. But yeah, that video is hilarious. Like I probably watch it like every day and I try to see how many views it is because I've never gone viral before. And when I saw it, I was just like, oh my goodness. Like it's at
Yeah.
like 3.4 million or something. It's just insane. But yeah, it works. Just be relatable, be likable and just be, show your lifestyle. Like with you, even on the podcast, like you showing like you do you and you show like you graduated with these people, you tell stories about like people you graduated with or, where they're from and stuff like that. Like just be relatable and be likable and just don't try to push anything on anybody. No one cares about your thing as much as you think they do. So just like just
yeah, it's a
like I always say too, your dog is not as cute as you think he is.
yeah.
Like to you, your dog's the cutest thing in the world, but to other people, it's probably super annoying. So
That's great. Same thing with kids.
yeah, your kid's not as cute as you think it is. He or she, it's just not. But
Yeah.
in your eyes, it's like the best thing ever, and you want people to enjoy it or whatever. But just don't push anything on anyone.
It's that's great. I've got one more question for me, and then I'll move into kind of our last section here. But what's in the future for Los Bomberos, do you think?
Definitely more merch, more hats, more fun shirts. Spreading out into a little more, different demographics, not just firefighters, not just first responder type stuff. Like just spreading out a little more and doing like the outdoor stuff, the golf stuff, just growing the brand that we've established and just making it fun for, a bunch of different people. And that's definitely the main goal. That's what we're shooting for.
Nice. Love that. Well, that's all the questions that I've got, but I want to kick it to our previous guest for this next question. So we've got a tradition of every guest gets the opportunity to ask a question to whoever's next. So our last guest was Thomas Watts, and the question that he came up with was, what are you doing for the folks in your life that need support? Which I thought, that's pretty good. I like to know that. So what does that look like for you?
I think what I want to do and what I am doing is just being more intentional with everybody you run into. Just like being intentional. If that's your wife, if that's your girlfriend, if that's your dog, if that's your father-in-law, your husband, sister, whatever. It's just like being intentional, People like the attention. People, it's as cheesy as it sounds, we're in an age of like everyone's texting and doing, Instagram, whatever. Like it's just being intentional. Just try to do everything in your power to be there for that person in that moment and just show them that you truly care by like paying attention to them. That's like my main thing. And I'm trying to work on it myself is I'm trying to be like as intentional as possible with everything that I do. And it goes a long way. I mean, people really appreciate that.
Yeah, that's great. I love that. Well, thank you to Thomas for that question, and I want to give you the opportunity now to ask whoever comes up next a question of your choosing. So, if you need a little more time, I'm happy to give it. But is there a question that you like to ask? Litmus test for how you think a relationship's going to be, or anything like that.
I want to ask if, let's see. Does it have to be deep or can it be like funny?
No, no. I've gotten so Haley Gentry asked, "What's your favorite bird and why?" And then so it's perfect. Yeah, it's
What's your
it's
favorite bird?
we can go a lot of different ways with it.
Oh man.
The
Okay.
From Way Downtown guys, they like to ask a question on their podcast. It's like, what's the biggest animal that you could take in a fist fight? And so like give your like justification for that. So it's like any direction you want to go there.
Okay, mine is super simple, but would you rather get $50,000 cash right now, or flip a coin for 3 million.
Ooh,
And you have to land on heads. If you land on tails, you get nothing.
nice. What do you have an answer for that question?
I'd probably take the 50K. Just run
Really?
with it. Yeah, I'm not flipping a coin. No way.
If you change the amounts around, it'd probably manipulate my answer. But I think if we're talking about 50,000 immediately and 3 million for the coin flip, I might have to do the coin flip. If
Yeah, I've thought
it's a
about it,
the
but like
bigger the
50,000.
instantaneous payout is, then the harder it's going to be for me. But
50,000 is a lot of money.
that it is, and I think it probably. So when you're talking about, like, capital for, like, building out your brand and stuff too, that has maybe a more immediate
Oh,
impact.
50,000? Yeah, it'd be
Yeah.
easy. Yeah. I
So
don't
maybe
need 2
maybe
million.
if I was at Los Bomberos, it might change my answer too. So
Think about your podcast studio, 50,000. You,
see, now
you
now
put
you
in
got me.
like all you have to
Yeah.
put in is like probably like 10,000 of that, and you get a good, awesome
Oh
little
my gosh.
setup.
Now you got me thinking. See,
All
and
right.
that's why we asked. Nice, love that. Well, I can't wait to hear the answer from our next guest. But yeah, Danny, before we close it out and go, is there any parting thoughts or things that you didn't get to mention that you'd want to now?
Uh, no, really. I guess maybe my parting thought maybe goes back to something I've been thinking about, and it goes back to the fire department. And it probably relates to every job, any job, any profession, anything. And it's a cool, I don't want to butcher the quote, but it pretty much goes like, at the end of the day, when the ink dries on what you were doing, whatever it is, the logbook that, the fire department logbook, or the nursing, or whatever it is that you were doing. Like at the end of the day, you're probably going to get replaced. And all you can do is look back and go, did I give my 1000%? Did I give
Mhm.
my all? Like you can either look back with pride, or you can regret having a ishy attitude and just not enjoying that moment. So and I've thought about that a lot with the fire department. Like I can definitely say that I put 100,000% of that job, and I smiled as much as I could. I had as much fun as I could. And yeah, I think if you do that with any single job you do, like, do you want to look back and go, yeah, like that was a good time in my life, or you look back and go, man, I hate that I, acted that way. So
Mhm.
that's my parting thought. That's what I've been thinking about. Just put pride into what you do, no matter what it is. If you flip burgers, or if you're at Buc-ee's, or whatever it is, just put pride into what you do and just go hard at it.
Yeah, love that, man. That's great. All right. Well, that is gonna conclude the 23rd episode of When I Was Your Age. Big thank you to Danny for being a guest on,
Thanks
and
for having me.
yeah, absolutely, man, and we'll see you guys in the next one. See ya.